Hey, good morning, everyone. Well, it's morning here. By the time you guys see this, it'll be afternoon a few days later. It's April 19th right now, so you guys may see this a week later. I'm probably, by the time you see this, the reason I'm pre-recording these is because I'm going to be on the road again. And the only way I can keep a handle on my channel is like to actually, you know, sometimes I got to pre-record a slew of shit and then post it. And then I'll jump in the chat because my live streams have just went down the toilet lately. Just my schedule is just weird. But anyway, good morning or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you see this. Recently, the Germans arrested, after a tip from Poland, arrested two German/Russian nationals. I don't know what they meant by that. Who are trying to execute sabotage attacks on NATO bases in Germany, including the big Ramstein air base and a few others, including Germany. Apparently they had maps of bases in Belgium and France. The French were waiting for them on the border, but the Germans got them before they made it that far. They didn't specify what they were going to do. It sounds like IEDs. With only 2 or 3 guys, you can't really do a coordinated ground attack because the security forces and MPs will kill you. So it was probably going to be more disruptive, an asymmetric attack. The Polish caught wind of them. The Poles went after them, but they had left the country before Poland could figure out where they were. They knew they were there, they just couldn't find them. Then they got information that they had moved either to Germany or France. They tipped off the other two, and the Germans busted them. GSG, which is their, I can't remember what the hell GSG stands for, or GHG. It's their counterterrorism people. It's like our SRT for the FBI, but they have better guns and actually hit their targets. I'm picking on the FBI today. They're going to probably squash my video, so I stop it, dude. But anyway, the Germans went after him. I'm surprised the Germans didn't kill him, because the Germans and Polish are pissed at the Russians right now, and they will, like, kidnap people. So they arrested 2. That doesn't mean they didn't kill 2 others. We don't know. But anyway, 2 are in custody, and they're being questioned, which I would not wish on anyone. The Germans are not Americans all night, although the Americans have done some horrendous shit too. But it was likely going to be a disruption attack. With that small a team, a mass shooting, yeah, you could, but you're going to attract the German counterterrorism, and the Germans cops have guns. They'll be all over you very quickly. So that probably wasn't going to be the case. What I'm picking up from the various articles is disruption, blow up power stations, blow up cars and parking lots, basically fuck with the base, around the base, to where the base has to lock down and it doesn't function. And then that got me thinking, so we're having what, 30,000 people a month trying to come through the border in the US. Now most of them are from South America, so now we have a bunch of cartel guys and gangs and shit. Even the sicarios in Mexico don't want to come here that way. Like, if they're smart sicarios, the fuckers have like fake passports. Now Mexico has an immigration problem because of America, which to me is just retarded. And Canada's a hot mess right now. We don't know who's in our country. We don't know who's in Canada. Mexico's barely holding back the cartels, and honestly, they should just make an agreement like Colombia did and say, okay, here's the deal. You do whatever the fuck you do. Don't shoot civilians or we'll come after you. If we catch you, we'll bust you. And if you get around us and happen to get your drugs or whatever, then that's fine. Stop screwing up the cities. And we agree no Al-Qaeda's and no terrorists coming through the country. And the cartels are not stupid, right? It's about the money. They'd be like, okay, yeah, we can do that. And they would just, make Al-Qaeda's disappear and whatever other entity. But right now we have reports all over the country of groups of military-aged Chinese men, not homegrown guys like, oh, it's Timmy Chan from down the street who, went to University of Texas and he's like, hey, let's go to the gun range. No, we're not talking about like the local Chinese, local Cuban, local Puerto Rican, and Mexican boys, right? Because we all already have guns and we all shoot together. These motherfuckers don't speak English, excuse my French. They're being reported all over Texas. Now the Texas shooting ranges are starting to call the local sheriff if they see something sus, but they're going into other parts of the country and nobody's paying attention, right? Texas is already very alert to this shit. This was two dudes. 9/11, regardless of whether you think government sponsored it, which I know they did, somebody sponsored it because that required money and passports, but boots on the ground, under 30 people. If 1% of the 30,000 this month, 1% are saboteurs, just 1%, we are looking at what? 300? Did I do my math right? 30,000, 10% is 3,000, 10%, 1% of that, 10% of that would be 300. Yeah, 300. Imagine 300 saboteurs. So 300 saboteurs, we got 50 states. So what is that? 6, that's a squad per state. That's assuming you spread them evenly, right? They're not going to spread evenly. Imagine those 300 and you have 30 in 10 places. Just do the numbers here. 300 bad guys who are trained, have a mission, and you got 10 in Houston, 10 in New York City, 10 trained, not some God is great and I'm going to go fight. No. Guys who are trained, who know sabotage, and they're not looking to martyr themselves. They're going to hit. They're going to be like Muhammad Ali, hit and run. Move like a butterfly, sting like a bee kind of thing. Imagine 30 of them in New York City, in small teams, all at once. Tuesday rush hour. They detonate 1-car bomb on every bridge. They don't even have to kill a lot of people. It could even be a bad bomb. The damn thing could just blow up the car or burn it down. But if it happens everywhere at once, what's New York going to have to do? Shut down the city. Houston, shut down the city, right? Now you got state troopers, MPs get deployed, bases going force con Charlie. These are the kind of things you want to prep for. This is why I'm going to later go through my get home bag again. And I'll be honest, I've repacked my truck bag. And at this point, I'll call it a truck bag because it's kind of a bug out bag, but it's kind of a get home bag. It's basically my oh shit bag. So call it what you will. I like oh shit bag. That's kind of funny. I've repacked it several times. And I keep it in a safe that's bolted to my truck. And yeah, I gotta like go through it again and make sure I'm not missing something. I mean, so modular may be a good way for me to go. I might have to take an entire short vacation, pull all my shit, and start making kits for different reasons, because I really don't know. It's getting very complicated, especially if I have to reload again or if I'm traveling again, which I travel a lot. You guys know that. I also got to really work on a travel get home bag that will not get me busted at TSA, that I can stick at least in my check luggage if I can't bring it with me on a plane. So I got to do some homework on that now. Because imagine being on a vacation. Imagine you're on a cruise, right? A lot of us go on cruises. They got cheap again. Or you're visiting the grandkids, or you're traveling. Now, granted, my grandkids, my granddaughter, one is in Houston, but the other one's in El Paso. And, you know, one of the boys lives on an army base or near an army base. So if I'm by the base and shit pops off, well, you know where we're going, right? We're going to go to the base. And having been a guardsman, I'm sure I could provide some usefulness. But what if you're in like Bufu, you know, you're just visiting, I don't know, Seattle, or you're at a concert in Chicago or wherever. I wouldn't go to a concert in Chicago because they need to control the streets. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. These are the kind of attacks that make it very difficult for us to plan. Go through your truck bag, go through your vehicle bag. Even if it's a small kit, you don't have to spend 10 grand on a freaking get home bag. I would recommend you try the bag with its stuff in it and walk around for a bit and see if it's doable. I may have to change this bag because when I bought it, it was cool. I kind of repurposed one of my son's old bags, and then I realized it fits a little weird, so I got to play with the straps. If not, I'm going to have to put a different type of bag in there, one that I know will fit for me. But these are the kind of things, they're hard to predict, and clearly wheels are in motion because the Germans just busted 2 guys who were planning sabotage attacks. I promise you that's happening here in the US and Canada, but we're not seeing it because either it's being hidden or it's people are just oblivious. And even our community, we're looking for this stuff. We can't see it all the time. So you really need to take the time, go through your kit, go through your vehicle. Like, I can live out of the truck for a few days. I do got to upgrade some MREs in here, but go through your stuff and get an understanding of what you may or may not need. And again, it's going to be hard, so collaborate. Email me. I don't care. You shoot me an email, give me 24 hours to respond. You're like, hey, I live in this environment, but I do this for a living. Like, what should I include in my bag? Even just my opinion, even though my opinion may not be correct, right? I may misunderstand and go, well, you should have this kind of boot. And you're like, those boots don't work here. But I didn't think about footwear, right? Now you're thinking, okay, so just conversations, even if you don't necessarily get the answer from me or another creator or another chatter, you can at least, it gets you thinking out of your box, right? Because we can become a bit complacent. We get in our little box, like, I have everything, and then something pops off and you're like, shit, I didn't think of that. And we can't think of everything. Prepping should be evolutionary, not static, right? So you prep and you're like, okay, I'm ready for a hurricane, and then terror attack, shit. So now you try to accommodate. Now remember though, save your money. Inflation is real right now, and pretty much 80-90% of the stuff all of us will get apply to almost every situation. You know what I mean? Like MREs would apply to a bunch of stuff. First aid kit applies to a bunch of scenarios. So work on those first, and then try to plan for those specialty situations that may occur. That way you get the most bang for your buck. If something happens before you got to the specialty stuff, at least you got your basics down. But folks, keep an eye on this. Right now, at this point in time, Israel has already counterattacked Iran. That's going to escalate. Iran can't come home. Iran doesn't have a navy to come here and attack us directly, but they have a lot of people in the country. I promise you that. And I know this because there's an Iranian community in Texas, in Houston, mainly dissidents who were run off by the Khomeini. And 2 of them in the last few years have been assassinated in Texas by agents. And we caught the agents in one. We did not catch the agents in the other. And one was an amazingly beautiful, talented woman who spoke about real women's rights, not like, oh, you know, screw the patriarchy. It was more like, oh, women are being beaten with sticks in the street kind of rights. Yeah, she got it. Like, she understood. She was not woke. She was very grounded. And she spoke out against the regime, and they killed her ass in Texas. And the cops got one guy. I think the other one got away. And the guy they caught ain't saying anything. So, you know, it is what it is. Another one got killed and nobody knows what happened, but it was an assassination. You know, it was 2 to the chest, 2 to the head. That was an assassination. That wasn't some random gangbanger. They're bad players in the country. I'm convinced of this. We can't do anything about them, but we can make sure that we're ready if we're caught on the road, if we're caught at work. If you have your own office, have a kit locked in your desk if you have a lockable desk. If you have a locker, put it there. If you don't have a place to store something, a private item, safely, talk to your manager. Talk to HR. Talk to the chief of security in your building and say, hey, look, you know, I want to have a bag in case of an emergency like 9/11, you know, with everything going on. Most people will get it. They'll be like, yeah, I got you. Where can I secure it? Where can I store it? Also, get a good understanding of what you can and cannot carry at work or at home, on the road. You know, understand your different environments so you can plan accordingly. But folks, keep an eye on this stuff. That sabotage attack or attempt, that concerns the shit out of me, because those are the kind of things you can't plan for. And I think right now is a real possibility in America. I think most of you would agree. Plan accordingly. Don't freak out. Look at your stuff. Remember, 80-90% stuff will apply, you know, like most of what we're going to buy will apply to 90% of what could happen. It's those little oddball situations that are a little harder to plan for. So sit down, and again, you want to email me, you want to communicate to each other, we can do that. I've been negligent on my Discord channel. I started one and I never really utilized it the way I should have. I'm gonna try in the next coming weeks to create a more coherent chat on subjects. For example, what should you have in your get home bag? What should you have in your bug out bags? You know, how to deal with different situations. I'm hoping I can get some time to get some local politicians on my channel as well. It's just my schedule, and then, you know, people got transferred, one got fired and one quit, so like, you know, your workload is constantly fluctuating, so that's been a bit of a challenge for me. But anyway, folks, plan accordingly. Double check your kit. It's, you know, when the weekend hits, that could be your prep for the week. If you spend 1-2 hours a week on the weekends doing a prep, that could be your subject. Pull the bags out of the cars, make sure they have the basics, put them back. Don't leave them in your office like I did once, and I'll put it in tomorrow, and then an emergency happened. I drove to the field and left my bag and my lunch in my office. Don't do that. Anyway, lesson learned. Guys, be good, be safe, God bless, and pay attention. This is getting a little bit interesting. I'll see y'all later.